The interior of the F-150 Lariat is really nice. We've got all sorts of different highlights, and one of the great things is that we do have leather seats that are going to be standard. You will technically find leather seats in the Tremor 402A as well as the XLT if you get the black appearance package. But there are a few caveats to the XLT. Big one being when you get into that Tremor high pack or the Lariat, you get heated and ventilated first row seats, which are amazing. Like having the ventilated first row seats, I love it, especially when it gets a little bit hot outside because these leather seats can get like a little bit warm. So having the cooled seat capability is great. But I love the interior here. This is the regular black interior, but we've got these nice contrasts and highlights. Like looking through at the driver's side door, we've got black leather on the lower part, and then it's a maroon on the higher part, and that even follows through. Like we go to the dash, even into the armrests. And then one cool thing, we've got like this little highlight throughout the seat as well for the driver passenger side, and even moving into the second row. It looks really sharp. So many amazing features that are available here. One good thing about the Lariat, we do have power driver passenger seats. The driver's side also has seat memory. So we've got 3 individual profiles, and it's great because we can have it remember not only our power steering wheel, if you're in the high pack, but so we've got a power steering wheel there. It'll also remember our seat, side view mirror, as well as our power adjustable pedals. So if you've got multiple people driving the vehicle, we can easily set up everything. So our power steering wheel, side view mirror, seat, and our pedals. Press and hold either 1, 2, or 3, and it's going to remember your own personal profile. We do have power folding side view mirrors there, so we can easily unfold and fold these things as necessary. Little storage cubbies and compartments on top of that. And this one does have one of the upgraded Bang & Olufsen speaker systems. Not the Unleashed, because that still is available as an option, so an 18 speaker, which sounds incredible. One big difference from the 2022 to the 2023 model is that the Lariat no longer has the entry-level 500A package. So no longer is an option, which means that the Lariat you can no longer get with a bench seat configuration for the first row. You can only get it with a console, so dual captain's chairs with the console in the middle. Few benefits and downsides. I mean, an obvious downside is that if you wanted a 6-seat Lariat, is not going to happen for 2023, so you'd have to find a used one in order to get that. But a benefit with this console is it gives us some other good features and functionality. We've got a wireless charge pad here. We've got our shifter that's down by our hand versus by our steering wheel that you'd find when you do get that bench seat configuration instead. But if we look at just general features and styling wise though, like it's nice. The seats inside of this thing are super comfortable, and as they drop down, like I have a crazy amount of headspace. So with me sitting fully upright, this is nuts. So top to bottom here, I've got probably about 5 inches of headspace, but I mean, that's with the seat all the way back. So, I mean, down pops it up even more. And that's just because this one doesn't have the optional sunroof. So is available there as an option. You obviously have to do it at time of ordering from the factory. This one just doesn't have it. But I mean, I like all the little highlights. We've got this metallic highlight by our vent, shoots across as we get into the dash on our passenger side. And then we also have a little button that we can push in order to show a little storage area there, which is kind of cool. But there are so many different options. We've got a fully digital cluster screen inside of the Lariat, and it looks really sharp. Like the startup animations are great. We've got adaptive cruise control there, depending on the version of the vehicle that you're in. We've got controls for our audio. We've got a voice command prompt. On the right-hand side, we've got buttons to be able to change between songs, radio stations. We can answer or hang up on a phone call, and then we can move through our cluster screen. But if you're looking for more of a walkthrough, like a technical side, like you want to know how to use the steering wheel buttons, move through the cluster screen, or using the Sync 4 media screen, check down in the description below. I've put together some crazy comprehensive videos explaining how everything works. Now, there is one other thing. The steering wheel. Very comfortable, but the Lariat technically should have a heated steering wheel. This one does not have that heated steering wheel as an option. So unfortunately, there are some trucks that are getting shipped right now without a heated steering wheel as an option. I don't believe we're going to be able to add that in aftermarket unless you do like a wrap afterwards, but to get that factory option, I think you're kind of SOL. So if that's changed, I'll make sure that I update the description of the video there, but as of right now, it does look like just because of part availability, if you have a vehicle or an F-150 on the factory line right now, it may get shipped without a heated steering wheel. So just double check with your dealer if that's something that you must have, chat with them, see what they can do for you there as well. But it's just go in knowing that's something that you may not end up getting. But I mean, shifting over, the Lariat is going to be push button start, which is great. And then shifting over, we do have a boatload of different buttons all throughout the center stack here. We've got one for our camera, so just base camera, but we do also have the option for a full 360 camera. So if you've got a Lariat that's got full 360 camera as an option, I mean, it's really nice. We'd had side view mounted cameras, a front facing camera, rear camera, so that would give us a full 360 view. This specific one doesn't have it, but it is really useful as an option there. Moving down, we've also got our Pro Trailer Backup Assist. So rather than counter steering the steering wheel the way that you want the trailer to go, we just twist this knob and it all automatically counter steers for us as long as we've got a trailer connected. It's a really, really cool system. But as we start to move down from there, we've got our integrated brake controller. We've got a series of different buttons here. So 2 high, 4 low. And because we're in the Lariat, we also have 4 auto. So 4 auto means that the vehicle is going to determine what mode we're in, but just kind of basics. 2 high is where you want to be the majority of the time. 4 high is if it's snowy conditions out. And then 4 low is if you're going to be pulling a boat out of water, you're doing heavy towing, or if you're going to be doing some off-roading. So that's where you want to be in the 4 low. But kind of wrapped in there, we've also got a series of selectable drive modes. And the drive modes changes the way that the cluster screen looks. So we've got normal mode, we've got our slippery mode, deep snow and sand, mud ruts, and then we flip back the other way to get to tow haul, eco, as well as a sport mode. So each mode will do something different. It's going to maximize the drivetrain, etc. Sport mode is going to hold on to RPMs a little bit higher, or longer, I should say, so it's going to redline essentially more, which gives you an infinitely sportier performance. And then moving through our center stack, we've got our volume rocker, tuning rocker, change songs, radio stations. We can turn our screen off if we want to. We've got dual zone climate control. And I did mention it. So we've got heated and ventilated first row seats inside of the Lariat, which is really nice. Down from there, we've also got a little compartment as well. So we can push open, push, and then even to close it, you're not going to pull because there's a locking mechanism you're going to break. If you do, you push it in order to be able to close it. Really straightforward. But because we're in the Lariat High Pack, we do have a wireless charge pad. We've got 2 USB power points in there. So a USB, USB-C. Shifting down, we've got a few cup holders, and then we've also got our shifter. So we've got our park reverse neutral drive into a manual mode. And it's just on the outside, well, inside of the shifter, by where your right knee would be. We've got a few buttons on the inside of the shifter there, so we can change out gears as we go. We've also got a little button there to be able to power fold our shifter. And then if you had a vehicle that had the interior work surface area, you'd be able to power fold down and then just pop that thing open. It's a really cool feature. If it's something that you want, just add it in at time of ordering from the factory. So if you're putting in a custom F-150 order, just make sure that you do that. This is fully lockable. So if you've got some things in there, you've got a lock there. So you just use the emergency access key on your fob in order to lock it. But we've got a fully removable tray there, and like a boatload of space. Like I'm almost elbow deep inside of this thing. But we've got 2 more USB power points, so another USB, USB-C in there too, which is cool. Up overhead, we've got an auto-dimming rearview mirror. We've got some controls for our cabin lights, and then we've also got our power sliding rear window. Now, it's power sliding, but it is a manual, so it is manual to a degree in a sense that we've actually got to hold the button in order for the window to actually be able to open and close as necessary. So it's not just like a press and hold like we'd have with our windows there. So something to think about. From there, we also do have our sunglasses holder. Shifting over, we've got our garage door opening system. So if you've got a garage door opener at home, we could program that in easily. We've got our visor, vanity mirror built in, and then this thing's gonna stretch out to block all of the sun that might be hitting your face. Now, there are a few packages that this Lariat doesn't have, one of them being the Copilot 360 Active 2.0, and that's going to give you Ford's Blue Cruise system. So that's the hands-free driving. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have it, but I said you could order that as well from time of ordering from the factory, and it's nice because, yeah, like we do have adaptive cruise control and our lane centering system, but the Blue Cruise feature essentially lets us drive hands-free. So cameras would watch our eyes, and then as we're on any in Canada 400 series highways, interstates, etc. down in the States, if it's on that Blue Cruise map, you'd be able to drive fully hands-free. The second row of the F-150 is incredible. Now, this is the SuperCrew version of the vehicle, which means that we have so much space back here. Like, it's actually kind of ridiculous, but I mean, you need the space, it's there. If you have kids, front-facing, rear-facing child seats, not gonna be an issue. If you've got a crew full of people that are gonna be in here, like 3 full-size versions of me, you're not gonna have an issue fitting them inside of this thing whatsoever. But I mean, the seats themselves are actually really comfortable. Like, we do have our leather seats because this is the Lariat, but I mean, this is really nice. Like, nice seats, headrest, same way, two-way adjustable. And then a lot of the same highlights that we saw in the first row carry through to the second row. We've got that same maroon look along the door. We've got all of our different cup holders, and we've got a speaker along the door itself. All that same stitching follows through. A few highlights for the second row. We've got pockets behind the first row seats. I did mention, so we do have some cup holders behind the armrest. And then moving down, we've got heated outboard seats. So we've got 2 buttons there, and that's going to be for the driver passenger side. The middle seat is never going to be heated inside of this thing. But moving down from there, we've got a few power points, so a traditional 12-volt adapter. We've also got USB, USB-C, and then a regular wall outlet back here too. So power points galore back here, which is fantastic. Now, other things to point out. Overhead, we do have some cabin control lights on the driver-passenger side, as well as some little hooks. We also do have some cup holders back here. So built right into the seat, which is great. And that's just kind of like right below our power sliding rear window that I pointed out earlier. But styling wise, comfort wise, this is great. Like, I have a boatload of headspace here. So with my head like fully back, if I was just kind of sitting back like this, maybe about an inch of space. If I was forward though, because this one doesn't have the sunroof, I'm about 4 inches roughly of headspace there. So like I said, taller people, they won't have an issue sitting inside of this thing. And like, I've got like a crazy amount of knee space and foot space because this is the SuperCrew configuration. Super Cab, you'd lose some space obviously there, but you could still fit 3 full-size versions of me inside of this vehicle on top of that. A few other things about the second row of this thing. So we would have the option for partition lockable storage. You have to technically get that at time of ordering from the factory. If you want to walk through and how that partition storage works and what it looks like, check down in the description below. I've already put together a comprehensive video explaining it, but it is really cool that we've got that available there as an option. And then when we get into the other side, so the passenger side of this thing, we can pop that seat up as well. And then hidden behind that seat, you'll also find the jack as well as the spigot if we ever need to either change it higher or if we want to fill up using a jerry can. But this is nice. Now, did mention the seat is going to be locked up until we pull the tab and drop the seat back down again.